and I just made it regular trans brake. 5,000 RPM. Nah, I don't think that's enough smoke. How we can get this smoke somewhere close to the inlet of this turbocharger. Oh man, so you saw in the previous video about how we were actually testing the injectors on this. Now the engine is all together. Well, the engine was together. Now we have the intake manifold on the engine. We're gonna be doing some testing, but I figured you might wanna see how did we all make this thing. Check out the big piece of billet aluminum, 6061 aluminum. What are we going to make out of this? All right, so you can see here, it's all cut out super smooth and got this really particular shape. I think you might be able to start figuring out what we're doing here. We're gonna show you the whole process on this thing, but we're gonna send this out to a new friend of ours that's gonna be making something with this. Pretty goddamn interesting. All right, check it out. So you saw the mold. Here's the mold. Then you see what Performance Acrylics made for us. And then we needed to machine it and put it in there. Now, the one thing that we had to do was we had to build this adapter because they couldn't form it in the mold to duplicate this because it's a negative, so you can't form it to that because you can't ever pull it out. It's a long story, but we've made this cool little billet adapter right here so we can still simulate that 10-degree inlet. But all the super cool. Oh, wonder what that injector is doing. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's weird. Oh, look at how the fuel goes from here over to here. Oh, I mean, it's gonna be awesome. So I'm super excited about that. So we're continuing on to get this the rest of the way bolted in, and then we're like this much closer to running it, and we're gonna test it with the fuel system first, not on the motor, and then we're gonna test this thing live action on the actual engine making boost on the hub dyno. Sick. All right, you see this thing, pretty interesting. So we're getting all set here. We kind of have our camera and stuff all set up and trying to figure out how to make this all work and taped up and all this other stuff. So we're gonna just start it, get it to idle, get it to tip in, do all that kind of stuff, because I did do it with these new injectors. So if you go back to the video before this, you see me flowing those injectors and finding that one bad injector. Whatever was wrong with it, they're taking care of it. They're great over there, so don't worry about that. Now I'm using the little 80 pound/hour injector, high impedance injector, for just the drive and starting, and then idles off of there and then transitions into the big injector.
So you're not using the secondary fuel rail beneath?
Nope, I'm not using the bottom fuel rail at all right now. I can. I have, set of injectors down there, which I could, but I really wanted, my whole point was I really wanted to get this big injector up on top instead of splitting it up into two, one big injector. So that little 80 pound/hour injector is going to be shutting off as soon as it starts making probably over about 10 pounds of boost. So 10 pounds of boost will be completely off. So it'll just be running on the big injector. So there's a whole bunch of retuning and redoing on this to get it to work. So including, you know, just getting everything all working, functioning. And I'm really interested to see what it's going to do. So let's get this thing started up. All right, so something that is really interesting. So this was the just cold start, and you saw this one cylinder, and the engine was running. This one cylinder was just sitting there with fire in it, and it wouldn't put it out as it was just sitting there idling. So it was enough to keep it all running. The fuel would come down, and if I would have revved it up, it probably would have gone away. But why it was when I would tip in or just do a little quick rev like that, what changed when the last time I just started it, and totally fascinating because you probably wouldn't ever see this. You just notice, oh, it just kind of quit running. No, there's freaking fire in the intake manifold. I have a little timing wall right there. So it idles up against this timing wall. So when I tipped into the throttle real quick, it didn't have enough timing. So when the timing's real lazy and real late, you don't have enough timing in it. It didn't have enough time to spark and burn the fuel before the valve reopened. So really quite fascinating what's going on there. So the only thing I did is I just changed the idle timing, and that went away. Point blank. That's pretty cool. All right, so now let me get back into it here. And I just got tipped in. I got a bunch of stuff to try here. So we're going to get the GoPro cameras on there because I want to see what's going on. And you can see that it kind of fogs all up again as soon as it's running. Now, when you see all of a sudden when I tip in the throttle, I go like this, and you see this white cloud in there. It is not from Excel. It's what? So it goes as soon as I let go of the throttle. So it puffs. You watch. So I go like this, poof, then it puffs. Okay, it puffs on when it's closing the throttle, because what it's doing is probably has some kind of reversion that is fuel, not air, that's doing it. Otherwise, you'd be seeing air all the time. So fuel is the only thing you're going to see in the pipe when it does, or in the chamber when it does that. So that is really all that is. That's pretty interesting. That whole little thing just there with the flame is really kind of cool. You would never see that in this application. You just go over, start it again, it sucks all the flame out of it, and you try it again. You never see it. So that's pretty cool. Let's get back at it here, and I'm going to be trying to put this first thing we're going to be doing is get it up on trans brake, make sure that the two-step trans brake all work, and then I can go and talk to you a little bit about how the hub dyno needs to work when we do all this, and then we'll start making some short little pulls and see what's going on there. All right, so we got that idle and that little tip-in thing with that flame, which is, it probably wouldn't even do that if it was totally warm. It's just, you know, just has this real light little backfire, very common. So probably wouldn't do that at all. And I'll do a little more on the street drive and tuning like that. Really just trying to get through a little bit of testing on this so I can move on to normal testing. And now we're going to try two-step stuff, and be interesting to see what it does on the two-step. See if there's anything going on inside the manifold with it, if it's misfiring. So that's what we're going to be doing right now, and trying to build some boost and do that. I'm just going to turn down my two-step rev limiter just for kicks and giggles, and see if this works here. if you notice that the wheels are turning in the back, so, or not the wheels, the axle is turning in the back, because you don't actually leave on the two-step with trans brake and H, you know, it's not actually the axle isn't turning, it's that you unhook the transmission, so everything still works except the actual trans braking. There you go. Now the interesting thing is there is some safety that is on that if the wheels are turning and the trans brake is engaged, it will not go over 3,000 RPM. So I gotta give them a call and see if I can figure out where that's at to shut that off so we can up down. All right, I think we got it figured out what was going on, and this is really, really fascinating. So I did not have the dyno controlling the axle speed enough. So what was happening, because I was just trying to initially set everything up on this car. This car has a lot of really tight converter, really tight converter, I mean, for this kind of application, right? And a lot of gear, 370 gear. And so what was going on was I would get up to 1300. It would come, the wheel speed, or the wheel speed would get up to 1300 drive shaft speed, 1300 drive shaft speed. The problem is the engine was at 3000 in RPM, and so the converter starts coupling up because it gets really efficient. So what I had done was we put the car, I disconnected the button, and I just made it regular trans brake. 5,000 RPM. Hook up the wheels to have the wheels turning, because it was allowing the drive shaft speed to come up high enough that the converter got so tight that it no longer let the engine rev up. The engine wouldn't rev up, wouldn't make any boost, wouldn't rev up the rest of the way. So we're going to really control and slow the axle speed way down, and we're going to try this and give her a hit. We'll see. So it didn't control the wheel speed tight enough. I want it to be tighter yet than that. But it did at least come up on the rev limiter. And then, since I have no tune for this here, it probably just got in a dead spot and just shut itself off. So let's take a look at what we got going on here. But it did at least come up on the two-step. That was cool. And then I released the button, and it took off. It started taking off, and then it just sneezed because it was probably just doesn't even have close to enough fuel right there. Well, it didn't run out of fuel. AFR is all actually looking good. All right, so you saw that pass. I think we got things figured out now. It had a little glitch where it thought it restarted the pull, and so when it restarts the pull, it actually thinks it's done with the pull, and it just fully stopped the car. That's why it just went. But actually, you might not even be able to tell that from the video, but it only went to 7,000 RPM, so we should be able to run it here in this next one. So we're back here from last night. Yostin worked on a software update again, and so I think we're ready to try making a little pull here. All right, so here on this whole one, this was just a simple lean sneeze. It just went into a cell that had a lean sneeze. It sneezed, I let off the throttle, and it re-sneezed. You see how it is individually firing up into the up into each runner right through there, boom, boom, boom. And when that sheet comes down, it's kind of cool how you can see individually what all was going on there. Boom, 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 boom. Still just shutting down, going back down to idle. So now that one where it just had that, went through first gear, and then it didn't even really do anything. It just went poof and shut off and threw that flame up in there. Ran out of fuel. All the things. That was definitely a little better, but it hit high gear and it just kind of laid over up there, so I think I got way too much fuel at it. So we're gonna come back and take a look at that. It almost made 3,000 horsepower. It only, let's see, come on over here and I'll show you. And definitely got into a spot out there that it just wasn't accelerating. Oh, all right, so we made our gear change. Yay! What's that say? 28 pounds of boost, and right there at high gear, 28 pounds of boost. So 28, just looking at my tune-up stuff. I got a noise issue here with my number 5. See how this pop, 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 and it just drops right out, but it's still right there, comes back. It's just not gonna swing quite like that. Is there anybody else that's like that? Oh yeah. Oh, that one, and then that one had noise spike made it go up to 1800, which is not possible. Especially when, you know, half a second earlier, it's 11:32. It looks pretty normal through there, so it has a noise issue. That one doesn't. That one does. That one doesn't. Number 6 doesn't. 7, all sorts of noise issues there. And 8 doesn't. All right, so 7, 5, 3, 1. Okay, obviously we can see that there's something going on with noise on this side of the engine as far as the EGT control box, because that's all real nice EGTs on this other side. Looks great on passenger side. So I'm gonna go through there and just see if what we got going on. But and where was I on tune-up? I mean, tune-up is good and safe. So that has the same amount of timing in it that I run it. 50 plus pounds of boost. So it's way under timed, which is fine. Really, we're just seeing how this whole is actually. I'm getting a good grasp on fixing some tune-up issues here with this whole new injector setup, which is really, I think that a day of pulling my hair out and a little bull crap here, a little bull crap here, a little bull crap there saves days worth of testing at the track. So I mean, it's shifting. That was our first clean full pass through there. And I mean, I don't even have it remotely close to where it's at when it goes down the track. Not right this second. So we're going, because I wanted to sneak up on it. And then, yeah. So it's definitely got a noise issue on this EGT module. So I'm going to take a look at that and see if it's the module or see if it is the maybe a spark plug wire or something like that. Now you can tell too that it's all noise related. So here's this orange line is me letting off the throttle. Okay, the green line is RPM down. All right, so if we just kind of go up here and we highlight that, there you go, that blue line. Right now, look, when I turn on all the other EGTs right here, they're fine. So when it's not under load making engine noise, it is perfectly okay. They're all, as a matter of fact, as soon as you let off the throttle, where it's not making noise, they're all very close to each other. So that's no noise. I mean, that's a 1119, 1141, 1086, 1113, 1613, 33. That's actually pretty good. So I'm really happy about that. It's just got some noise in there, so try to diagnose that. And all right, so that's good. And then it just wasn't, typically we'll be ramping up that high gear quite a bit more. And quite honestly, so see here at, let's see, at 30 pounds of boost. So this, generally this rough general tune-up in this car goes, this would go on just a nice average clean pass, full pass. This would probably go like 690s, right around there. So that's what that low boost, I mean, low boost first car, 30 pounds, would go. It would maybe even go, might on a really nice clean pass, might go faster. But you gotta keep in mind when your car is all geared up and set up to try going to 590, low horsepower stuff, it's multiplied. We need the horsepower in order to utilize all the gearing and everything that's in the car. That makes sense, Nate? Mm-hmm. So it's like a short shift in your Corvette just doesn't quite have enough power there. But if you had twice the horsepower, you can short shift your Corvette and it goes down a track, right? Mm-hmm. Or it goes fast. So anyways, all right. I think the dyno worked good right there. We're gonna take a look at that. Take a look at all our numbers, and then I think it's time. I don't think I really want to put 50 pounds of boost at it here yet, because I think one thing that we want to do is the smoke inhalator. The smoke inhalator. Smoke inhalator. I'll show you that here in a second after we get done with the curve up here. And obviously we run it out. That was actually the RPM there. This runs out the back door at 9,000 RPM. And I pulled out a throttle at 7,000. So that was only 7,000 RPM. Normally we're at 9. Everything's up higher because we make the gear change at 8,500. Here's making gear change at 78 and 78. Normally we're at 85. 85 actually to 9. And so this is nice looking curves, looking good, Yoasting. Is it? See, you see how much I know what Yoasting looks like all the time. I see this guy more than I should. Ain't that right? We see each other more than what we should, but we're getting everything really sorted out and really working well right now, so that's good. All right, yeah. So the dyno graph looks nice. How much was it loading in order to even do that? And how long was that pull right there?
Yeah, we can see here.
That's what happened. That's all right. That's why it made it to 200 in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So the dyno grabbed it. That's why it stopped accelerating. Is the dyno grabbed it?
Yeah, it stopped it there.
I should
So
see.
it should go higher, probably.
Yeah, I should have let it go to 250. Yeah, that's exactly what it did. Right here at 3 seconds, it made the gear change into high gear, and because we didn't have high enough RPM, which is actually correct, because in the 8th mile, this car, let's see, if it goes like, if it goes all the way down into the 14s, if it goes 14s in the 8th mile, it will, it's still in 2nd gear. So I mean, it just makes the gear change, and that'd be 4 seconds. So it's just sweeping just a little bit fast. So I think we could definitely slow that down just a little bit more, and then turn our speed up. But I think everything's really good right here. I think I want to work on the smoke inhalator and try that out real quick. Okay, so actually now we just figured this out, because I go, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense, because this car does not go 200 mile an hour in the 8th. It does go 180 plus. And so I had entered the wrong tire diameter, so it calculated it out and thought that it was going 200 mile an hour, and that's why it shut off early. I didn't think it was going to shut off. It shut off, blah, 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 blah. It was just fat-fingered it and didn't put it in the right number. So now we put it in the right number. That was 180 mile an hour. Okay, so back down, 28.75. Not really any big deal, and that's why it obviously leaned or just laid there, because the dyno grabbed it. All right, so all right, man. Now let me show you what we're gonna be doing. You're gonna have to come back Thursday to figure this out, because it's gonna take us a while to figure this out. But we're gonna be trying to make smoke.
And then it says scratch that lid on there.
On this?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There's smoke.
Oh, that's making smoke. So we're gonna try to be, I don't know if that's enough smoke. So we're gonna try to figure out, nah, I don't think that's enough smoke. How we can get this smoke somewhere close to the inlet of the supercharger or the turbocharger, so it sucks the smoke in, so we can see how the air goes through the intake manifold. Now, see, this is all clearing up. Well, we're gonna figure this out. You gotta come back on Thursday.